Welcome into the LSU Sports Insider Podcast, special edition. Today is Thursday, May the 29th. Second show in one day, people. How do you like that for purpose? We had a show on the SEC meetings and the future of college football earlier today with myself and Scott Rabelais, so be sure you check that one out if you have not already. This is a special LSU Sports Insider previewing the NCAA Baseball Regional taking place at Alec Box Stadium this weekend. With me is Koki Riley, our Advocate LSU baseball beat writer. I am Zach Ewing, and this podcast and the Advocate's coverage of LSU in the NCAA Baseball Regionals is brought to you by Our Lady of the Lake Health, the championship healthcare provider of LSU athletics. Koki, I know your head is spinning. Jay Johnson's head is probably spinning a little bit. It is that time of year. LSU's got 3 teams visiting. They all practiced out at the box today. They are ready to go for the regional tomorrow. There's no rain in the forecast as I knock on wood. It sets up to be a great weekend of baseball.
Yeah, and very exciting. Finally the regional is here. The playoffs are here. Everything we've been playing for is kind of led up to this moment to really led up to the next few weeks for this team. And I mean, we'll break it down, but I think LSU heads into this regional as a pretty heavy favorite. Just given who the 3 and the 4 seeds are, just given the history, the brief history this year with DBU, who they've already played and beaten in Dallas. So yeah, it's playoff baseball. You never really know. Sometimes you take those sort of things for granted, and all of a sudden you start getting upsets, and a team like Oral Roberts going to the College World Series or whatnot. So we'll see. It's going to be a fun weekend of baseball for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. We'll talk about the regional field. If you look at DraftKings Sportsbook, they have odds up for each of the 16 regionals, and LSU is the second biggest favorite to win its regional. They're a 5-1 favorite. Arkansas at -550 is the only bigger favorite. So yeah, people, even though LSU is the 6th seed, they're not like the top seed in the country. Also, if you look at just national championship odds, Arkansas and LSU are the top 2 teams listed there as well. So they're clearly, LSU is expected to get out of the Baton Rouge Regional. Also very clear that Dallas Baptist is considered their main competition. If you look at those odds, Dallas Baptist, second choice at 4-1. Then you go to Rhode Island, 35-1. Dallas Baptist, 100-1.
Little Rock, 100-1.
I'm sorry, excuse me, Little Rock, 100-1. Thank you. Little Rock is 100-1. Little Rock, the team LSU plays tomorrow, they come in at 24-32. Obviously would not have been in the NCAA tournament field or anywhere near it had they not gotten hot last week and won the Ohio Valley Conference tournament. So that's who LSU starts with. That is one of the weakest teams in the field. I don't, it's hard to say exactly. Like I know North Dakota State in a conference in baseball, and I don't know. Are they the weakest team? You think it's possible?
I mean, in terms of RPI, it's hard to argue against it. Like they're 244 in RPI. The next highest team is 199. So there's like even an RPI gap. They're lowest, and there's a gap between them and the next lowest team. And like you said, 24-32 overall. They lost 10 of their last 11 conference games before the conference tournament. They only got into the conference tournament because of a tiebreaker for 8th place. So they barely qualified for their own little conference tournament, and they became the lowest seeded team to ever win the Ohio Valley Conference tournament, winning 5 games in 4 days. They pitched their ace twice they pitched their ace twice in 4 days. And one was like a 60 pitch start, and the other was a 129 pitch complete game to win the final. So their journey has been pretty insane, to say the least.
Yeah. And by the way, we're going to have full pregame and postgame shows starting tomorrow out live from the box. So we will be with you. The game starts at 2 p.m. We'll probably be with you. I'm going to say 12:30 or 1 o'clock. We'll see how quickly we can get set up after we get there. But we'll preview that game more in depth at that point. We'll have lineups and confirmed starting pitchers and everything. But speaking of which, Koki, I assume Jay Johnson is going to play this straight. It'll be Cade Anderson tomorrow, Anthony Ianson on Saturday. Do you have any reason to believe that will not be the case?
Not really. I mean, maybe they throw Ianson first because they think he's the better matchup, and they kind of wanted that versatility of pitching one of those two guys for that first game. But I think either way, whoever they start should overwhelm Little Rock. And it's just a matter of LSU getting their bats going again, and they're going to be facing a team that's basically like a lower midweek sort of opponent, just in terms of talent and RPI and all that jazz. I think LSU only played two teams that have a lower RPI than Little Rock this season. That kind of gives you an idea. At least I saw that somewhere. It kind of gives you an idea of like who they're going up against this weekend. We're going to get the Rhode Island and Dallas Baptist, who are pretty interesting teams. But in terms of Little Rock, it's a pretty big mismatch. As big as you could possibly concoct if you're an LSU fan, honestly.
They're the type of team that if LSU played them in the regular season, you would have fans going, "What are you guys doing? You're going to hurt the RPI. Why are you playing that team?"
Yeah.
And that's who they drew in their regional. So no complaining about that. And then Rhode Island, I don't know. I mean, the A10 is a fine conference. It's not really known for its baseball. Rhode Island was the best team in the A10 all year long. They got a 3 seed, but they're the type of team where they would have been a tough 4 seed, but I don't think anybody would have blinked if they had been a 4 seed. So you've got maybe the worst team in the field as your 4 seed, and then a 3 seed that's kind of like, could have been a 4 seed. So again, you look at these teams, not trying to put them down, but it's just nowhere near the level of competition LSU has faced.
Absolutely. And I mean, Rhode Island can really hit the ball. Like Anthony DePino, their third baseman, is 19 homers and a slugging percentage over 700 this year, for example. And they have some pretty good lineup depth, and their ace Tristan Levesque is very good, and he's going to start against Dallas Baptist, so LSU's probably never going to see him.
Sure.
And they could win a game with Levesque, and they just win the first game, and LSU plays. All of a sudden, LSU's playing Rhode Island not tomorrow, on Saturday. Like, that wouldn't shock me. He's been that good, and like Levesque, for example, he threw a 10-inning shutout against Oregon, like back in February. He's been their best pitcher by far this year, and Jeremy Urena, the number 2 guy, isn't that bad either. He's been pretty good the last few weeks, but overall, like you said, though, they're 68th in RPI, and that's the lowest 3 seed in the field. To give you like a comparison, like SC Upstate, who's a 4 seed in the region. I think it's I forget which regional it is. It might be the Clemson regional, but like they're 53 in RPI, and they're a 5 seed. No, not 4. They're not a 5 seed. They're a 4 seed. So that kind of gives you an idea of like how lucky LSU got to get like the weakest 4 seed in the field, the weakest team in the field, and the weakest 3 seed in the field, at least in terms of RPI. So RPI doesn't say everything. No, like, I mean, Rhode Island, like I said, they have a pretty good offense. They're one of the better run producing teams in the country, just based on what they've done against the certain competition. And they have a win against Oregon, so it's not like it's impossible. And actually, Little Rock is a win against Ole Miss, which also means it's not impossible, but not likely at all that either of these teams are going to give LSU a real challenge here.
Yeah, it's baseball. Like, anything can happen. Nothing is impossible. But again, if Little Rock if Rhode Island had been your 4 seed, they've been like, well, that's a tough draw. Like, LSU's got to be careful with that team, but they should beat them. But that's your 3 seed. And like you mentioned, you're not going to see their ace pitcher this weekend because he'll pitch Friday against Dallas Baptist. So whether LSU runs into Rhode Island on Saturday or Sunday is irrelevant if they're not going to face the ace twice in one weekend. Maybe in a relief situation on a Monday game, a game 7 or something. But chances are you would not see Rhode Island's best pitcher. Again, good hitting team, not a great pitching team beyond him. So probably not too big of a challenge there for LSU if they play up to their potential. The big one, of course, is Dallas Baptist. And they are the reason that this is not a total walkover for LSU. They're the reason they're probably not the biggest favorite of any regional host this weekend. Dallas Baptist can play a little bit. LSU played them. They beat them 7-3 in a Wednesday game. But it wasn't like a weekend type game, so you weren't seeing top pitching from either side.
That's fair. Yeah.
And obviously it's just one game, and it was 7-3. It was competitive. So you would favor LSU over DBU clearly, but in a situation where you're looking at the three other teams, it's Dallas Baptist is clearly the biggest threat to LSU here.
Yeah, LSU can't fool around. I think that's the best way to describe it. I was at that 7-3 game, as I've been at every game this year, and it was a weird game where it felt like LSU should have been winning by like 8 or 9 runs, and then it just didn't really happen. I felt like both teams should have scored a lot more runs than what was actually put on the scoreboard. Dallas Baptist is a very physical team. They got a lot of power. Grant Jay, their catcher, he's one of the best catchers in the country, quite frankly. 19 home runs this season. This team they have 2 wins over Oklahoma. They have a win over TCU. Like, they've beaten really good teams. And TCU almost hosted. Oklahoma was an easy tournament team, but they lost to LSU, and LSU was pretty comfortably the best team in that game. And they also played a really good game, especially offensively. They hit the ball really hard. They're all over the park in Arlington over there. But now the rematch is going to be over here in Baton Rouge, which is advantage LSU. LSU is going to be able to use their best pitchers and their best starters, one of their best starters. So advantage LSU. If this is the matchup, it's not a guarantee that they beat Rhode Island. And Rhode Island has their best pitcher. It's not a guarantee. But if we get the matchup that we think we're going to get, that's kind of what we're looking at here. And one of the interesting things with DBU, they're getting a little bit healthier on the mound too. Their strength isn't necessarily on the mound. And one of their top stars, Ryan Borberg, LSU actually faced him over in Arlington when he was the midweek guy earlier in the season, and they hit him around decently. So there's that, but maybe LSU sees Micah Bucknam instead. Micah Bucknam is a former Tiger, obviously, was on LSU the last 2 seasons. Now has been one of their better starting pitchers this year. He was hurt for a little while. Now he's back from injury. So I think they have a little bit more depth in their pitching staff compared to Rhode Island and especially compared to Little Rock. And they have a very physical offense, so they can take advantage of the park here. But LSU has the pitching staff in order to hold them down, Rhode Island and DBU. And then offensively, as long as LSU plays as they should at home, which is they're a better offensive team at home, as we know. If they can play at that level, they should be fine.
Yeah, just to give you an idea, there are 9 prospects listed on MLB.com's top 200 draft prospects for this year's draft who will be at the Baton Rouge Regional. 6 of them are LSU players. 3 of them are DBU players. The other 2 teams don't have any. And of course, that doesn't include non-draft eligible players, so it's not a full picture. But the three guys you mentioned are Dallas Baptist top prospects, top players, James Ellwanger, and Michael Bucknam, the pitchers, and then Grant Jay, the catcher you mentioned, who's also listed in that top 200. So these are guys who are going to be, professional ball players this time next year. They're talented. Dallas Baptist is no joke. And I think that's the way that a fan probably needs to approach this is you've got a regional where you have 2 pretty heavy favorites in these first round of games, and then 2 teams where, any game that they won against either of those top 2 teams would be a sizable upset.
I think you can make the argument that Rhode Island's a little bit better than their RPI if you just look at the offensive numbers and you look at the fact that they just didn't have much of a chance to boost their RPI because they didn't have a loaded non-conference schedule, and obviously their conference just wasn't very strong this year. And then they did what they needed to do in that weaker conference. They went 22-8 in the conference. They won the conference tournament. Like you said, they were the best team in the A10 pretty easily throughout the entire year. And they have some power. We've seen the physicality with the numbers. So again, it wouldn't stun me if they beat DBU because Levesque is a good pitcher. He's a lefty. Again, like low 3 ERA, pretty high strikeout rate. Like he's pretty good. So maybe they sneak in with that win, and that would help LSU probably in terms of winning that second game. But heck, you never know. But yeah, I think the favorites are still LSU and DBU. And I think LSU is as much of a favorite to win this regional as any team hosting a regional this weekend.
Yeah, and the numbers and the odds back that up for sure. So we will have a pregame show, short one before the Little Rock game, probably about an hour before first pitch. Tomorrow we'll dive specifically into that matchup, give you the batting order, starting pitching, all of that good stuff. And then, of course, we will have a post-game show after every game this weekend, starting tomorrow. Figure that game wraps up around 5 o'clock. We'll be live, some maybe 30 minutes after the game ends, Koki will be on if he can. He's got writing duties. Scott Rabelais and Reed Darcy from our team will also be there. I will be talking quite a bit, I'm sure. And it will all be brought to you by Our Lady of the Lake Health, the official championship healthcare provider of LSU athletics. So keep it locked to this channel. Subscribe to our LSU Tigers at NOLA.com YouTube channel, or just search LSU Sports Insider on YouTube, and you can sign up for notifications when we're going live. You can also catch us on Facebook, but of course, to get the notifications, go over to that YouTube. Until then, he's Koki Riley. I'm Zach Ewing. It's regional time, everybody, and we will catch you tomorrow from the box.